Peace and blessings. This is Jakim from the Hard Talk with Jakim show. Can't get enough of the Hard Talk with Jakim show? You can email us at btom6164@gmail.com. That's bthomp6164@gmail.com. Peace. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Hard Talk with Jakim show.
We'll be right back with the Hard Talk with Jakim.
You women better wake up if you want to help to change America around. You do the work. You better wake up. And don't be afraid. Have confidence in yourself. And the ability that you have is ability and talent given to you by God. And don't let anybody use you. Don't let people continue to use you and to manipulate you. The only thing that you have is your integrity and the principles and the convictions of what we are fighting for in America. In terms of opening up this system so that a lot of people can really feel that they can participate in it and not have that small, tight few that continues to manipulate every one of us. You women better wake up if you want to help.
Peace and blessings, y'all. This is your man, Jakim Muhammad, with the Hard Talk with Jakim. I got two great, lovely ladies there. Peace and blessings to the late Shirley Chisholm. I'm telling you, I had to play that piece today because we are going to talk about Black women. So if you are listening to us right now, no matter where you're listening to us, whether it be New York City, Delaware, Pennsylvania, Louisiana, big shout out to Louisiana. I'm coming out there in November, y'all. Louisiana, I'm coming out there in November. All the other places between here and LA, peace and blessings to you. It's the Hard Talk with Jakim. Now, I got two great ladies in Delaware. And I'm going to let these two great ladies tell you exactly what their titles are and their beautiful names. I love both of their names. Forget about it. We're going to start with first, Miss Wilmington.
Hello, hello. Good evening. My name is Aisha Monroe, and I am your Miss Wilmington for America Strong.
There you go. And listen, I love, we was having a conversation before this time. Believe you me, y'all. We're going to get into some deep stuff and some good cultural stuff today. So we're going to talk all about For America Strong. We're going to talk about the pageant. But let me not be remiss if I don't give you Miss Delaware.
Yeah.
Hello. Hi. My name is Jeanice Burrell. I'm your Miss Delaware For America Strong 2022.
All right. So listen. I met these ladies about a week and a half ago, and I said I have to get them on here because I was ready to do the Black Women Show. You know, I do my politics. I'm hard and heavy on politics and civics, but today I'm not going to be so hard and heavy. What we're going to do is get all those young women in front of here, and whether you see us on YouTube, remember, go to Delaware Info Now on YouTube. 24 hours after this, we're actually going to show it on our YouTube page. Go on there and let the young ladies know that they don't have to always do what everybody else is doing. Now, I'm going to start with Aisha. Aisha, sorry. I said I was going to mess up her name. Aisha. I got a question for you, and I know a lot of people want to know about this. In Wilmington, Delaware, and that's where we're repping. Am I right or wrong?
All day.
All right. So all you people that's watch us is in Wilmington, North Carolina. We're not talking about you now.
Yes.
But it affects you because you're a Black community, just like Wilmington, Delaware, and all Black communities have a connective tissue. So let me just say this. In Wilmington, Delaware, you're representing a city that is going through some growing pains. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I love about Wilmington, and one of the things that I hate about Wilmington, is that we've got a lot of great, beautiful Black sisters who are not in positions of power. What do you say about that?
How much time do we have? Honestly, that is a branch of a larger tree. And I don't have that answer right now, but it's changing. And Delaware and the city of Wilmington is evolving. So people are going to have to know Wilmington and its leaders again and again. So I'm hopeful for the future about Black women and leadership. But yeah, that's a branch in a way bigger tree.
Well, I'm gonna give it to you. I'm gonna give you the same thing, Miss Delaware, Miss Jeanice. I'm gonna give you that same question. How do you feel about Black women leadership in Delaware?
I truly believe that we are at a minimum, but at the same time, we are also growing. I do believe that we need to have more role models as Aisha and I, because we all have purpose, we all have value, we all have power. And the thing is, with women of color, I do believe that we kind of get tricked in not understanding our worth. And now that when you start to look at yourself and start to love on yourself and start to, believe in who you are, you're capable of accomplishing anything.
Oh man, I believe it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the things that I want everybody to understand. We have a lot of capable Black men in Delaware. We have a lot of capable Black women in Delaware. And what happens is that you started seeing the same names and the same people all the time. Slowly it's changing. It's 2022. Slowly it's changing. And with these two lovely ladies, I hope that it changes for the future. Now, I did want to, Miss Wilmington, I did want to talk to you just a little bit about what's going on this weekend in Wilmington, Delaware, as far as HBCU.
Yes.
I know what's going on Sunday.
Sunday is Battle of the Bands. It's going to be at the Blue Rock Stadium. I believe it's Del State, Howard, or Hampton, but it's going to be I'm an advocate of HBCU Week, and every year I look forward to the Battle of the Bands. Wasn't in band myself, but I could pretend. But this weekend is going to be really, really good. I know the college fair was today, and a lot of students got accepted to a lot of great HBCUs. I'm a little biased to Lincoln University. Those are my stepping stones.
Hold on. You're a little biased to Lincoln.
Yes.
Okay.
That's my foundational home. I didn't graduate from there, but I spent most of my time there, and my grandparents are Lincoln University alums. The first HBCU. Just so
okay. Did y'all hear that, DSU? There was, that was from a Lincoln there. Let me just get to Jeanice. I'm going to tell you about just real quick. My daughter graduated from Delaware State University here, and she's an actual Delta. She lives in New Jersey. She's actually going to watch this. So she graduated in, I think, 2009. So big shout out to her. Jeanice.
Yeah.
Any other HBCU? Are you an alumni of a HBCU? Are you any of them?
Actually, I'm not. I didn't go to college. I didn't go to college. But however, I did graduate from Howard High School of Technology.
Hey, Howard
we're both actually Wildcats.
Okay. Now, listen. Don't worry about that. Don't go to college. I've had that already. I've had that show about trade, about getting in there. I'm gonna tell you something. I'm a college dropout, so I have no problem with it. I'm a college dropout.
Yeah, for me, I did. I actually had my first child when I was in high school at 16 years old. And my mom was not playing with me. She said, "You're going to go to school. You're going to get your degree." I did graduate out of cosmetology field. So I'm still a cosmetologist. I still pursue my dream. Thank God. And I did continue education with the trade schools, like going to Dawn Career Institute. I did medical assistant. I didn't get certified with that. I just did it. I didn't really like it too much. And then I went to Harris School of Business, where I got my esthetician license as well as my instructor license. So now I'm currently a cosmetology instructor.
Oh, excellent. Well, before I get to Miss Wilmington, let me just ask you one more question. How tough of a struggle was it having a child in high school and then winding up as Miss Delaware?
Oh my gosh. It definitely was a struggle because of the stigmas. there were a lot of stigmas of, you know, young mothers, and they're saying, oh, you will never be anything, you never will succeed, you will never be successful. And with that, I kind of use that as fuel. I was always a person where I'm not giving up, you know, either way I have to take care of my kids and stuff like that. So I just used that as fuel, and it just kind of kept my confidence and kept boosting me every step of the way. And, you know, now I'm a mother of 4.
Okay.
Yes, I'm a mother of 4 now. And with the pageant, that, like, I always wanted to be a pageant queen when I was 16, 17, but my mom was like, oh, you have a kid now, you're not qualified, which a lot of divisions back then, they wouldn't qualify us if we had children or things like that.
Right.
So I just put in the back of my head, it was like, oh, that's cute one day. But yeah, so I end up modeling, and I end up running into the opportunity. One of the Miss Delaware 2020 actually introduced me to it. She said, you can do it. I said, oh, no, I can't. And she was like, yes, you can. And I was like, okay, I don't never turn down no opportunity.
Right.
Yeah, so I took it on, and then I won. I was like, holy crap. Like, wow. So I just really took it as like, I felt like it was something that I worked hard for, something that now I have a microphone to my platform that I already wanted to create for young Black women like me that had children at a young age, you know. So now I'm able to get more exposure and be able to focus on more and building more.
There you go. Well, I love that. Miss Wilmington, I'm going to give you that same question. How was the struggle to get to where you're at now as Miss Wilmington?
Ooh. Wow. Being plus size in a small-minded world is a tough cookie. I had to learn how to be confident in myself, to like hear myself and know myself for myself, because the world and school and your job will try to impede on that and tell you who you're supposed to be and who you can be. And I didn't really like that because I was like spilling over. But I'm glad I took the time out to do it. And similar to Jeanice, I was in modeling, and I still am, and I was a modeling instructor. So I was looking for more ways to push myself out of my comfort zone, because I would be in the background. I would set up everything. I'll set up your lights. I'll put the whole program together in the booklet. They was like, you should try this. And I was like, ugh. There's a stigma around pageants. I didn't want to be limited to a soundbite, and I did not want to have to settle or hide my education versus my figure. So I'm comfortable in the skin I am in. And a lot of people would say diversity inclusion, but then you don't see diversity inclusion. So right. I did this pageant for me to really kind of just re-get that spark that I lost in myself. And it was one of my favorite experiences so far, because like I said before, I did everything for me, by me, almost like FUBU. But then it was just like, when I'm seeing other people be like, you really are a pageant queen? I was like, and sure am. I said, don't let the sash and the crown fool you. What you really want to talk about. So I am basking in my light, and I'm not afraid of it anymore. And I was afraid of it. Like, Marianne Wilson has a poem like Our Deepest Fear. Our deepest fear is that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. And that was all true. And this pageant, it just reintegrated a spark for me to use my influence and my platform, not to just be busy, but to be a worker in spirit and not just in voice. So
you know, I agree with both of you and what you're saying, because I have seen this time and time again, that if the lady is a plus size, they want you to do all the other stuff around it to make everybody else look good. Or if the lady has children, they want you to do, well, you couldn't do that. Those days are over. Yeah. Oh yeah. You're too busy. Those days are over. We come in all shapes and sizes, and the beauty is that it is to embrace it at any shape, any size, or any background. You know, a lot of backgrounds don't come from a silver spoon. They don't come from Greenville. And if y'all don't know what Greenville is, the audience is a big place. It's a nice place in Delaware that our United States president resides at. A lot of mansions over there. So I'm giving you that to say this. This change, this time in history, it's got to be the best time that we have for DEI, but it's also the worst time, because when we have diversity, inclusion, and equity, when we have that, we also have the mean comments from those who don't want change. And you will see that. And I know all of us have Instagram accounts. All of us have Facebook accounts. Most of us have a Twitter. Most of us have a YouTube account. And let me just say this about YouTube. My fans on A Hard Talk with Jakim know that I do not have my comment section on YouTube, because it's the most racist, sexist thing. And if you got a comment section on YouTube, disable it. I'm telling you now, you're going to get the worst thing. But I'm so honored to have both of you here and to talk about these things. Now, on this next thing, I'm going to play a couple of videos. Y'all stay right there. I'm going to play a couple of videos, but I'm going to give you two things. One, we have a mother here, and we would like to talk to her about raising a child in this climate, especially in Wilmington, where we do have a lot of crime. We're going to talk about with both of them. And again, we're going to talk a little bit more about being a plus size model. So stay right there. I'll be right back with Jakim, with the Hard Talk with Jakim. Peace.
Yeah.
Don't ask me nothing stupid. I don't play no games now. I'm 67 years old. Don't play with me. So you might be turn that shit right off. You ask me something stupid. If you think you're gonna clown me, your ass gonna be in trouble. All right?
All right. Well, what is that? Like,
what the hell you think it means? Don't play with me. Now get out of my face.
Yeah.
Because when I get on a plane, I don't expect the airline to tell me they have a few bad apples on the flight crew. Or when I go to the emergency room, I don't expect the doctors to tell me there's a few bad apples working in the emergency room that day. And so the citizens of Pennsylvania do not expect from their law enforcement to have a few bad apples serving their communities.
All right, y'all. This is the Hard Talk with Jakim. Listen, I'm back on here, Glenn. I got to give a shout out. I got to give a shout out to my cousin Vanessa. She's down in Maryland. She's already made a comment on it. She loves the show already. So big shout out to you, Vanessa. I'll see you shortly. Listen, we've got Miss Wilmington. We got Miss Delaware here. We're going to talk some more about our state of Delaware and the state of Black America. Because believe you me, a lot of the stuff, like I said before, it's a connective tissue. Doesn't matter what Black community you come from in America, whether it be Brooklyn or East New York like me, or right here on the People's Republic of Dunleith in Delaware. We got the same doggone issues all over. So it's one big community. I would like to give this one to you, Jeanice.
Yeah.
Raising, I know you said you have 4 kids?
Yes.
All right. How difficult is it to try to keep your kids on the straight and narrow in Delaware?
Okay, so number one, prayer.
Yes.
That's the biggest thing. I pray to God all the time to protect my children's minds, their spirits, their souls, because it's a lot of influence in the world. It's a lot of, especially social media, the phones, all that type of stuff, drugs, everything that you could think of can, steer them in the wrong direction. Now, I do have a 15-year-old son. He's 15 years old. Yes.
15, that you know what that means.
Yes, and to be honest, let me give you a quick background. His father actually passed away from gun violence.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, he got shot probably like right before the pandemic, and he basically suffered in a nursing home for a while. We had to kind of watch him try to recover, but he ended up passing away. So that was something I had to, embrace my son in. but he really didn't. He was numb to it. He really didn't have a feeling because his dad was already locked up. He was locked up for 6 years of his life. So when he came home, he was only probably in his life for about a year or so. And then after that, it was that, so he really didn't have his dad growing up. All he had was me, my mom, and grandmother. Now, and my little brother, of course, he helps him a lot. But anyway, so I think honestly what keeps my son going is how hard I strive. The things that I do to give him a positive outlook on life. I kind of I be honest with my child. I let him know when I'm struggling. I let him know when I'm not feeling okay. I let him know things. I don't like to hide nothing. Like sometimes, like I know, like older generations say, "Oh, a child is supposed to be heard, seen but not heard." I don't believe in that. I believe that they need to be able to express how they feel, not in a disrespectful way or anything like that. Express how you feel so I can be able to calibrate. Okay, now I got to see which way I'm going because I had him ever since I was 16. So we
Well,
grew together.
let me just tell you something. On the Hard Talk with Jakim, we don't go by old Negro sayings. We throw those out. We throw those old out.
I'm just saying that's not,
You're absolutely. I'm agreeing with you. I'm agreeing with you.
That. I cannot stand that. I'm like, what do you mean they're not supposed to be heard? Like,
I'm agreeing with you.
Through their head.
There are things that they need to hear because we live in a different digital age. Yeah. And you're doing stuff now that back in the day it was papers and papers could get lost. Digital don't get lost. Anything that is digital is stored. And when you hear the word digital, you should hear the word stored. I agree with you 100%, Jeanice. And let me just, I don't want to cut you off, but let me just give you this. No matter raising a child here in Wilmington, Delaware, or Trenton, New Jersey, or Newark, New Jersey, there's so many pitfalls for you to get involved, and there's so many distractions. Yeah. I know it. You know it. We all know it. We all come from it when we all have to deal with it every day, the distractions. The distraction is the biggest thing. Exactly. Now, Sister Wilmington, I'm going to give it to you. Miss Wilmington, you have the college degree. Are you pulling down 6 figures because you have a college degree?
I wish. I got 2, about to have 3 college degrees. I'm about to be doctor.
Wow. and yet, it's a great achievement, yes. And yet, you get all this stuff, and the average, I'm just going to tell you, I went pre-law, and I got out of political science. Political science was my major. I was a sci-fi major. And if there's any sci-fi majors out there watching us, poli-sci majors, because I call it sci-fi, but poli-sci majors, get out of it. Either go law or don't go at all. Get out of it. But let me just say this. The average lawyer comes out of college and he or she gets a job, maybe only $65,000 a year. But you got $320,000 worth of student debt and everything else. Yeah. Tell me about how hard it is to get paid in Delaware.
It's hard. And I was just having this conversation with my advisor because I was like, so this degree that I'm about to get, I was looking at it one-dimensionally and not involving the transferable skills. She said, don't knock yourself with the transferable skills. It might ask for 10 qualifications, but nobody's going to meet all 10. That's why they put that up there to see what best candidate wins. So I'm just being optimistic about what I'm looking for, and I'm not trying to be boxed in. And in the program that I'm in at Wilmington, the doctor program is just showing me that there are different ways to basically skin a cat. And you might have to be humble for a couple of years and then branch out and get something. So I'm in that limbo of being humble, but I'm like, oh, these student loans are adding up. Biden, what we doing?
You're absolutely right. You have to weigh the risk reward factor, don't you?
But it also goes back to finding a job where your purpose and fulfillment meet so that it doesn't always feel like work, but also you're not compromising and betraying yourself in the process.
Well, that's what we're all trying to do. to make sure that you get purpose and not being the sellout. There you go. A lot of times these companies, we live in the corporation capital of the United States, Delaware.
Yes, we do.
And we have more 501c3s that we can shake a stick at. Mm-hmm. But yet we still have in our 501, in our communities, such despair, such wanting needs. So, I rant on that all the time about our 501c3s here.
We definitely
everybody's got
overlapping happening.
Everybody's got the begging bowl out, whether federal, state, or private business, but our communities are suffering. And that's what I want to get into right after this. I'm going to be right back with these two lovely ladies. I'm going to just call them Miss Wilmington and Miss Delaware. And we're going to be right back with them. And we're going to talk about some more stuff about Wilmington, about Delaware, and other things. Peace and blessings, y'all.
Well, there we have it. After months of deceit and deception, the pathetic spectacle of a man who's run out of road. His defense that he didn't realize he was at a party. It is so ridiculous that it's actually offensive to the British public.
I wasn't going to say nothing, but I'm tired of folk giving dumb advice on this app. I'm about to help somebody today. I think the most foolish thing that I've seen lately is a woman who don't ask for nothing deserve the world. No, she don't. No, she don't. She deserve exactly what she asking for, and that's nothing. She gonna get exactly what she been asking for, and that's nothing, because ain't nobody out here got time to be reading your mind. Ain't nobody got time to be reading your mind. You ain't asking for nothing, you ain't gonna get nothing. Because in the word it say you have not because you would ask not. And on the street it say a closed mouth don't get fed. You better open up your mouth today. You better open up your mouth today. I encourage you to start opening up your mouth on today and start asking. Hey. Yeah, I'm going to need that. I'm going to need a little something for my inconvenience. If I'm keeping your kids, I'm going to need $50. If you want me to take you somewhere, I'm going to need some gas money. Start opening up your mouth today. Because y'all open up everything else. You open up your house. You open up your legs. But you won't tell somebody that you in need. You have not because you asked not. Start asking.
All right, y'all. She's one of my favorite comedians, y'all. Hold on. Can we give the snaps on that one?
Yes, 2 snaps.
Yeah, and I always play her. It's one of my favorite comedians on TikTok. You gotta go see. I'll put in the description there. But one of the things that she says there, I always say that a closed mouth is a closed destiny. And if you don't open up your mouth, and I want more Black men and women to open up their mouths and to stand for things that are important. There's a lot of things in our lives that are distractions that are not important. And both of these ladies can tell you that they're trying to focus on what's important. Janice, I got a question for you.
Absolutely.
Now, we've had 2 shootings last week in Wilmington that were terrible. Again, whether it be east side, west side, north side, or whatever side you want to call it, a lot of these times in Wilmington that I see a lot is that most of the people who's doing the shooting, that 1%, that 2%, it's the same people. It's the same thing. I don't know what plan is being worked, but it's the same people. We know that Wilmington have some great people. There are some golden people. I mean, good as gold people there. The problem is that not too many of them are out there talking about how great Delaware is. And we need our Black folks and brothers and sisters to start talking about that. What do you say about that?
I truly believe, again, social media, things like that. Sometimes I believe people feel like they have 9 lives. I feel like they just play these games, like especially the little children. They feel like they can just do these things, get away with them, or there's no guidance. There's not a lot of guidance going on. And also, I really feel that a lot of people are scared to be different. They're scared to jump out the box and be a better person for themselves. And that's why it's reoccurring. I always if you follow me on social media, on my Jeanice Burrell on Facebook, I'm always encouraging women that, you have to be the teacher. You have to be the leader. We are the women. We're the ones that give life to the world. So if we're not paying attention to our children or paying attention to, encouraging our men to be somebody, it will always be a revolving door of just we losing people, losing our people all the time. So
yeah, the prison to the school, the prison pipeline is real.
Yeah, that's what I believe. I believe if women, it's just me. I really believe like if us women really say, you know what, let's shut all this stuff down. Let's shut the power down,
Let's shut the distractions down.
Yes, and start respecting ourselves more and making these men actually work for what they get from us. It will be a whole different lifestyle. Like they will be like, okay, let me straighten up a little bit because my queen, she's not going to let me, she's not going to tolerate that thing. She's not going to tolerate this or tolerate that. Or just being a mom, like we can't be out in the street all the time and just leaving our kids to watch themselves. We can't do that. So,
well, I tell you, you are absolutely right there. I'm a big fan of accountability. I think accountability has everything to do with it. I know Aisha will say the same thing. Accountability is so important in almost every aspect of our lives. I will tell you this, and if you have discipline, the sky is the limit. And I know, Aisha, how do you feel about it?
I would add to that, like what you value comes out in your identity. So a lot of the violence that I have seen and grown up when is a lot of people not really knowing who they are and whose they are. So where crime and economic instability are, violence is sure to follow. So that's a question for mental health, law enforcement professionals. It's a lottie-dottie everybody type of problem and solution. So I'm doing my part with working with future generations and current generations, just working on knowing who you are and whose you are for you, not what everybody else is saying. And that issue that Jeanice brought up of social media, just because that information is out there doesn't mean it's correct or sound.
That's right.
Who are you listening to? So it goes back to what are you valuing?
Hold on, sister, I'm going to have to interrupt you there because this week I took umbrage with Kanye West when he said he don't read. I'm going to talk straight to the camera. Do not listen to that nonsense.
Please don't listen to Kanye. Don't listen to Kanye.
Read a damn
Pray for Kanye. Let's give him some consistent
hold on. Kanye said some good stuff last week, and he said some dumb stuff last week.
It's a
I'm going to say about I think what both of you are saying to our audience out there, and looks like we just got another person on. I want everybody to understand this. You don't need to know everything, but you do need to know just small, basic concepts. I'm going to tell you one small, basic concept now to all of you. There's no guarantee in life. You heard that many, many times. But there is one guarantee. If you smoke and drink and party and do nothing with your finance and health, I can guarantee you're going to have a bad life. There is one thing that is a guarantee. You keep doing all that stuff, you're going to have a bad life. That's all I'm going to say. Or then I'm going to do my less of my preaching. Jeanice, I need to know what is your Instagram? If people wanted to follow you on Instagram, what's your Instagram at?
My Instagram is Miss Delaware for America.
There you go. Smart one. Smart.
Miss Delaware for America _2022.
All right. So don't try to get into her DMs with the Jeanice one. That ain't going to happen. It's got to be Miss Delaware.
And Miss Delaware, Queen. Address me as Queen.
There you go.
Thank you.
All right. Sister Wilmington, what do you say?
My Instagram is Reclaiming My Time. I would always say Auntie Maxine Waters says it the best when she be in the meetings. Reclaiming my time. Reclaiming my time.
Yes.
Reclaiming my time, because that's what I'm doing. So yes,
all right.
you can follow.
That's Very important, man. I mean, those things are so important here. We are on our 34-minute, and I still have a couple of videos. I wanted to show a video. I'm going to give these queens a chance to get some water real quick, and we're going to hear from Mr. James Baldwin, and I'll be right back with the Hard Talk with Jakim. Peace.
How many more chain gangs? How many more beatings? How many more beatings with chains? How much indifference? How much brutality do you expect people to be able to take? After all that marching and all that pain and all that damage, the country really did nothing, except pass token laws and bills. But nothing changed. And then you drag in this really rather wretched farce of an election, which is, and both parties have been, treated black people in this country with the most monumental contempt. What in the world do they expect?
They attack black people after they've been murdered when they did absolutely nothing wrong. You're pushing us to the limit. And what do I mean by that? You're asking us to talk about history, the history of the South. This is in Georgia. What happened in Georgia? There were savages in Georgia. It was the ancestors of the white right-wingers. They were absolute savages. They murdered people, they lynched people, they raped people, they enslaved people. They took babies from their mothers and sold them as property. You want to talk about savages? Your ancestors were the biggest savages the world has ever seen. And so don't you dare call a black man a savage after you murdered him. Don't you dare do that. I'm so sick of African Americans being called violent when the world's worst violence was done to them, not by them, to them, not by them. For God's sake, you want to do racist stereotypes? If it fit anywhere, and it doesn't, but if it fit anywhere, it would certainly fit white right-wingers in the South, who has hundreds of years of history of being savages. Savages!
All right, y'all. This is Jakim from the Hard Talk with Jakim. Yeah, we just heard from our brother James Baldwin. Oh man, I'm a big James Baldwin fan. If you don't know, and we just had from our brother from the Young Turks, Sank. Our Turkey. He's from Turkey, and he was giving it to him. And we always play that one, and we want y'all to listen to the words that's being said. Now we're going to talk about something that's dear to my heart because I think there's no way out of our tradition without economics. We're going to talk about entrepreneurship. We're going to talk about being a business owner. Mm-hmm. And this time I'm going to start with Sister from Wilmington. Hey. Now, Sister, do you have a business?
I do not. I do not have a business. Not yet. Not yet.
We're going to have to get you a business because you are in Delaware and there's 501c3s and 501c4s all over the place. Everybody's got a begging bowl. So you got to get a business, get an LLC. Yeah. Get an LLC in Delaware.
That's on the horizons, though. It's on the horizon. Okay. It's coming.
Now, I'm going to ask Jeanice. I already know the answer to this one. Sister Jeanice, do you have a business?
I absolutely do. Yeah. I absolutely do.
And let me just say this. One of the problems that I have a lot of with business owners is I tell them, don't let your habit outwork your hustle. A lot of times they let their habit outwork their hustle because they may have a business, but that money is not going back into the business. It's going back into their habits. Whatever their habits are, maybe they partying all night long. They want to act like they Big Willie. Maybe they want to be into gambling. We did our sports show 3 weeks ago, and people were calling me up because, if you don't know, I play in poker tournaments. And I see a lot of gamblers. I've been in casinos since I was 18 years old. And I see a lot of people fall into the trap. They're entrepreneurs, but they got no money because they stay too long in the casinos. Tell me, Sister Jeanice has the business. Some of the traps that we see in small businesses is that they have poor customer service. Mm-hmm. What do you think about that?
I feel like, honestly, a lot of people say they're an entrepreneur, but have, like you said, no customer service skills. You know,
So it's basically
anybody,
a hobby, not really an
yeah,
entrepreneur.
it's literally like they'll just go on YouTube and be like, okay, yes, I'm going to make this and I'm going to sell it. And that's what a lot of things are going on right here. And again, that's another stigma that we have to get through, because a lot of people, oh, we don't support Black businesses because they're never professional. That's not true. That's true at all.
Definitely not true.
There are people who really put their heart, their soul, their ambitions inside of their business. Now, me personally, I've been a business owner for about 8 years, maybe. I would say 8 years. And I have seen people in and out, come and go, and I have seen people that's continuously on their hustle day in and day out. And the people that are really consistent day in and day out, they really don't get the respect that they need to get. Like, to be honest, I'm gonna tell you what I did the other day. I said on Facebook, I said, oh, I'm done with my soap business. I said, discontinue. All of a sudden, as soon as I said, this is why I'm sorry, Delaware. I'm gonna say this. Oh, let me get to this. I was so mad because as soon as I said discontinue, everybody was like, oh my gosh, well, I need a soap, or I need this, and I'm like, no, I mean, you know what? I lied. I'm not discontinuing. I just don't understand why when someone thinks you're failing, they want to support. You know, like that doesn't make sense. The whole time I'm posting it, being friendly, like, oh yes, hi, I'm selling soap, or oh, I'm a hairstylist, come visit, come do this and do that. It's crickets. But as soon as I say something about discontinuing, it's like something triggers in people's mind that when they think someone is failing, they then want to make your business so-called relevant. So it was funny. Someone made a comment.
Hold that thought, sister, because I'm going to jump in there, and you're absolutely right. And I want both of you to understand that. What you just said, Jeanice, just happened to a good friend of mine's here on the Route 9 corridor. Big shout out to Ed Harrison and Prime Styles and Cuts.
I used to work there.
There you go.
Yes.
So he just put on a post that he was closing down the restaurant because blah, 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 but he's still going to have the barbershop now. He was saying that he's going to bring it down. And everybody jumped on there. Yeah. And we're like, oh, no. Yeah. But where was you when you needed you in the summertime? Exactly. Or you heard which crickets, like you said. But let me just say this about customer service, and I want to get back to that. And I'm going to give it back to you, sis. When customer service is not a problem for small businesses, and it's not a problem for Black businesses, it's a problem for all businesses. Yes. I don't care if you're a Fortune 500 company. I have gone to companies and places like Walmart and Target that make billions of dollars that have terrible customer service. I've gone to restaurants. Yes. And let me just say this. You're absolutely right. And we still go and support them. You go there and you complain about the customer service, but every day you're there to do your little shopping, to be a consumerism.
Money in their pockets.
Am I right or
one
wrong?
Time. Let us
right. One time, and you want to post something bad about a Black business. All businesses have customer service problems. The airlines, I got stuck here 2 months ago. Customer service problems. I'm telling you right now, I don't want to hear that Black business customer service problem. All businesses have it. And Miss Wilmington, let me just ask you this. The other thing that kills me with when we talk about Black business and Black economics is, again, the begging bowl syndrome. And I give you back the begging bowl syndrome because I'm going to go to the 501c3. And this is my little thing on 5. We're going to do a show on 501c3. We got 4 people that's lined up, 4 of them that have 501c3s, and yet my community still like crap. But we're going to talk about that in Delaware. We have over 1 million businesses that are 501c3s that are registered right here in Delaware.
And within the first 2 years, most of them closed and shut down.
And the basic function is to beg the state for some money, beg the federal government for some money, and try to beg private businesses. But only the same ones. Yes. The same one. The politicians that do stuff for them. I ask you this question.
Yes.
In our dynamics in Delaware, being that we're so close to Pennsylvania and New Jersey and Maryland, one of our dynamics that we have here is that there's a lot of people who live here in Delaware that's not originally from Delaware. But yet, it seems as though the people that's making moves in Delaware are not from Delaware. Why is there so many of people in politics and even the president of the United States is from Scranton, Pennsylvania? Yeah. A lot of people say Delaware, but he's actually born in Scranton, Pennsylvania. Why is it that there's not enough Delawareans, people born and raised in Delaware, and the first thing they want to do, like my son, first thing they want to do is get the hell out of Delaware? Why is that?
That's a good question. And I feel like it's not being as though I've never left Delaware, but I left when I come back because I went to school out of state and then came back in state. I feel like everybody wants their name in lights and they all go about it the same way. And instead of working and collaborating together, they kind of be like, oh no, we do it this way, but we do it this way. And then we cross our eyes and then we write in cursive. So I feel like a lot of people want to get out their dreams, but they have like a one-dimensional look to it instead of a community collaborative thing. One of the nonprofits that I used to work for, Network Connect, they really do emphasize and enhance the community by working together. Like we all coming from the same pot. If we're all going to affect everybody's same pot, if we work together and we reach the masses, then that's the end goal. But I feel like a lot of companies and nonprofits lose sight of that goal. But a lot of people from Delaware do really leave Delaware, and a lot of our officials, they believe in different things, but I think the goal and the dream gets diverted for and gets diluted, so you really can't fully do it and commit to it. So
yes, Sister Jeanice, you wanted to chime in there?
Yes, ma'am.
It's a crab in a bucket mentality.
I didn't want to say it, but
I'm saying it. The Queen of Delaware has spoken.
Yes, ma'am.
It is a crab in a bucket mentality here. It's like people don't want to see nobody grow. People don't understand their position. Like if you supposed to be the person to take the trash out, you the person to take the trash out. If you the person that's supposed to be the accountant, you be the accountant. If you the one supposed to be the talent, you be the talent. People don't want to do that. They like, oh no, I want your position. I want your position. I want your position.
And not
like that.
And not qualified. They don't want to be
qualified.
They'll play the game to play the game.
They don't want to stay in the particular corridors that they have skills for.
Yeah.
And to be honest, like for me, I'm a hairstylist, right? So I'm cosmetologist, excuse me. So with that being said, I'm licensed. I'm a licensed cosmetologist. There are a lot of, no disrespect to anybody because they gotta hustle, they gotta do their thing.
Right.
But there are a lot of self-made stylists, things like that going around, and it's no qualification. They don't qualify. They don't add up. So it's like it makes it harder when people have actually went to school and actually got their degrees to do these things. It makes it harder for them because they're doing stuff their way, and then we're like, no, it actually is supposed to be this way. And we have that a lot around here, and I can say.
Well, I'm gonna tell you.
When I went to,
go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I can say when I went to Las Vegas, because the whole time I was like promoting Miss Delaware. Soon as I went to Las Vegas, I can tell you my buzz just went crazy. Like just because they see me outside of Delaware, it was weird. Like they didn't believe I was gonna make it there or something. Honestly, it was weird.
Yeah, you know, sister. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Aisha, you're absolutely right. And Jeanice, you're right. Once I put on Facebook, whether I'm in New York City, because I go to New York City, I have a huge family. So Big shout out to everybody who my Uncle Donald died. My Uncle Donald Paw. Yeah, he was a Native American. His last name is Paw. And my Uncle Donald passed away, and they gave me some big props. I have a big family, so I have a lot of 70, 80, 90-year-olds that's going to be passing away. But I'm in New York a lot, and when I put New York on it, I get a lot of buzz on shots that I'm in New York. But when I'm in Delaware on Market Street, it's like the cricket. Yeah, but it's even deeper than this. Yes. I'm going to get right back to the 501c3s. Let me just give you may not know it, and the audience may not know it, but the 501c3s in Delaware, they're always down in Dover every session, and it's almost like the Hunger Games. They have to try to get this state representative or this state senator to give them some money. So I'm going to down that 501c3 that ain't doing this over here, or that man plus 501c3, or the women. It's like the Hunger Games. Yeah. That's a problem. Nothing gets solved. The money, the number one thing, the money is not going to where it's supposed to go. Yeah. I'm going to leave it like that, y'all. I ain't going to preach no more than that. But I do want to give on, we're at 50 minutes now. I do want to give a chance so that you can tell me, and I'll start with you, Jeanice. Tell me, how can anybody who wants to be a Miss Delaware 2023 get on?
All you have to do is literally have confidence. Number one, be confident in who you are. I'm actually a queen with locks, which I love so much. I'm a natural girl.
Yes.
But so basically what you have to do is you have to connect with our director, Miss Susan. That's both of our director, which she's a very, very awesome woman. She's very helpful. She will basically help you do anything to get you going. That's all you got to do. Just sign up. Just contact me or Aisha and Aisha. Sorry.
Yeah, Aisha. I said it once. You said it once.
I do it all the time. I'm sorry. But anyway, yeah. So all you have to do is contact one of us, and we can get you connected to the proper channels to be able to become a Miss Delaware next. And I would love to crown the next queen.
All right.
Yeah.
Aisha, the same question.
Because me and Jeanice actually competed against each other. So we're in the same pageant. Yes. She was Miss Bear, I'm Miss Wilmington. We all went against each other to become Miss Delaware. Yes. So yes, everything that Jeanice says is correct. I'm actually going to be representing Wilmington again for Miss 2023. So you got me back to back because I didn't know that.
Okay, that's fantastic.
I'm coming back, and I would say one of the mottos or my mantras for new pageant girls is if somebody has to tell you to become excellent, you're not going to be able to be excellent. So just keep that in mind when you're pursuing something new and it's something foreign to you. It's going to feel foreign, and it's going to feel like you're a crab or a little fish in a big puddle, but you can swim and keep.
It's a lot of pressure. It's definitely a lot of pressure, but
you will laugh about it.
You can do it.
Listen, I personally would like more women that are intelligent and courageous to get involved. Because just like these two intelligent and courageous ladies, they are getting involved, and it's important for us to have as much women representation as we have as men representation. Yes. I want the black men to stand up straight, get out there and do what you got to do. I want the black women to do the same, because that's what is important. Now, let me just give y'all one more thing. Y'all know what we do here in the Hard Talk with Jakim show. We do so many things, and we usually start off soft and then we get hard. But today we started off soft because I got two great ladies on, and I wanted to. Last week we had domestic violence, and I want to touch on this real quick. Last week we had Dawn Riley from the Domestic Violence Ambassadors here. Great show. I've had her on before. I'm a member of the Domestic Violence Ambassadors, and I want to talk. And we talked about my niece-in-law who got killed in 2021 right here in Delaware due to domestic violence that was not even hers. The husband killed her because she was the girlfriend, the friend of the girl, not sexually, the friend of a girl. Domestic violence is a big issue and it's a big topic here in Delaware, just like it is around the rest of the nation. How do you feel about how the government handles domestic violence here in Delaware? Either one can give it to me.
Like, that's a big thing. I usually volunteer with the YWCA. So I work sometimes with survivors of all ages, and then working in schools and the teens and the students not knowing about the violence. It's something that requires a mindset shift and a toolkit upgrade in all parts of the city and the state, because I feel like there's some cultural barriers because we keep it in the house, it stays in the house, we don't take it nowhere. But I feel like the more that we get the community involved to speak and to feel comfortable being heard and listened to, that we can start growing to that part where individuals who are survivors are actually in situations right now where we can inspire them to be hopeful and to try to get help. It's not a one size fits all. And I think the government and legislation tries to stuff that down our throats, but everybody's experience with domestic violence or violence, whether it's in a relationship, whether it's at work, is different. And I think the policies should reflect that and be culturally relevant and sound.
Well said. You're absolutely right. And I agree with you. Everybody's domestic violence situation is not the same. There is one single thread that may be through the whole thing, but most of it is not the same. There's always something. Jeanice, what do you say about that?
I truly believe it's a mindset, like Aisha was saying, like it's a mindset shift, because a lot of people, I mean, I know for myself, I grew up with I guess we'll say grow up. Yeah, I grew up with just allowing men to mentally abuse me, and only because I didn't know my worth. I didn't understand who I was. And I just always settled for things that just didn't make sense. And it's nobody's fault that they get abused. It's nobody's fault. But at the same time, we have to learn when we see the signs, when we see, things like, okay, this is
understand. You have to have the tools. You have to have the knowledge of a red flag.
Yes. You got to know, you have to know, okay, this is not healthy. Yeah. This is not cool. This is something that I don't want to. But a lot of people of our culture don't know what doesn't feel good because that's what we're just used to. That's just what we're accustomed to. So,
and I don't want to cut you off, but let me just give a big shout out to Miss Gloria Johnson, who said, hey, Jeanice Burrell, and a big shout out to Miss Gloria Johnson. Big shout out to Carl, my cousin Carl Hyman. Big shout out to you, buddy. But you're absolutely right. And one of the things that we find in the domestic violence, especially when you get a little bit of notoriety, part of domestic violence can also be part of stranger violence, which is stalking. And stalking is real when you become, when you have a little bit of celebrityism or whatever you want to call it. Doesn't matter whether you have 1 million followers or 1 follower. It can happen to you at any time. I'm telling you now. Last week I was able to tell you about my experience in 1990 when I had to go for an order of protection, and the 2 days that it took for me to do it in New York, which had me going from Brooklyn to Manhattan, and there was only 5 of us guys, and everybody else there were all women, and I wasn't going to get the domestic violence, temporary order of domestic violence if I did not have the telephone tape recordings. The judge was not going to do it, was not going to believe me. And I was in law enforcement and was not going to believe me if I did not have those tape recordings. So I'm telling you right now, that was 1990. We have phones, tape everything.
I believe
Take
that too, because
everything.
I have had situations where I had to call the police and they're like, well, if they did, I'm like, if, do you not understand this is a problem right
A lot
now?
of it is
I'm bothered. Like, I'm
reacting
Yes,
bothered. And
instead of
they don't do
proactive.
nothing about it.
Yeah.
that's
It's a
right.
lot of
Oh, what'd
reactive
you say,
instead of-
Aisha?
It's a lot of reactory actions instead of prevention and proactive. So they want to wait until it's too
Something
late.
happens. Yeah, they want to wait until something happens. It's like, well, they didn't touch you yet. I'm like, what?
Well,
Okay.
well, I'm going to tell you, and we're going to end this with this, and we're just going to run just a little longer because I see we're getting a lot of response by that. One of the things, my other cousin, a female, just recently was shot twice in Tampa, Florida. And I shared this last week. I have a big family. My grandmother was one of 14, and she had 14. So she had a lot of kids. They had a lot of kids. So I have a lot of cousins. And she was shot down there. And would you believe it was, without getting into the case, I don't want to do it. My lawyers wouldn't let me do it anyway. Right. But her and her man got in an argument on how to play Uno. He took a gun and shot her twice and paralyzed her. There were red flags
Mentally
in that
unstable.
relationship.
Mentally
all
unstable.
the way. Yes. There were red flags. We're not blaming victims. No, we're not. What we're saying is there were red flags in that relationship. It wasn't about just the game they were playing. It was about the attitude. Somebody said, well, we need to protect women. I know we don't need to protect women. You need to stop attacking women. Men, stop attacking women. Women, stop attacking women. Men, stop attacking men. We get into this mindset that we need to protect when you need to stop it.
I just believe once Black people know who they are, things will change.
I think family dynamics are changing, and it's a little bit more open, but it's still a long way to go because we got to get families, like the stigmas inside Black families are slowly changing, but the world is moving a little bit more faster. So it's like if you don't get it at home, you'll find it on social media, and that'll be the behavior that you mirror and model.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Listen, we are on a 1 hour here. We've been a 1 hour, 1 minute. I'm going to let these ladies go, but we have to do this one thing because I see everybody is jumping in. We're going to talk about the other taboo that Black communities don't talk about with these two queens: suicide. Suicide is one of the things that has been a detriment in our communities. We just think we had a young man that was a basketball player for college. They believe that it may be suicide. It's not confirmed yet. Suicide. I don't understand why so many people are depressed, but I do understand why so many. If it seems like that's a hypocrisy, it is, because we have so much distraction, yet we still have lonely people out here and people who are struggling with whatever. Suicide, I know both of y'all have that on your platforms as well as to try to curb suicide, especially in the Black community. What's your thoughts on it, Jeanice?
I will say we actually lost a few queens with suicide recently. Actually, right before meeting Aisha's pageant, I think it was like two queens. Committed suicide, and at first I was scared. I was like, "Oh my God, is it that much pressure?" Because I feel sometimes we try to hold up an image instead of being real. Like me, I'm real. If I have a problem, I'm going to say it. That's just how I am. Because I feel like a lot of times we try to keep this persona, and instead of being honest and being able to release these things out, we hold it in, it's bottled in, and then something, you just get enough, and then it's a done deal. And it's unfortunate, but we have to be able to, I always love asking people, are you okay? How you doing today? I would even ask like different ways too, because some people just have a generic answer like, I'm fine. Like I will throw people off like, oh yeah, well, stuff like that, and then they'll start venting, and I'm like, okay, that's we're getting progress here, because a lot of people are scared to acknowledge their flaws, acknowledge where they're falling short. And it's not, you shouldn't feel like you need to be judged. You should be able to feel like you just living your life. Your journey is valuable. Everybody's journey is valuable, and a lot, again, I feel like it all goes back to, once you understand who you are, once you understand that you don't have to be judged by nobody walking on this earth, because everybody has their own struggles. Everybody's going through something.
Well, Aisha, I'm gonna kick it to you, and you're gonna have the last word on here. Again, a lot of us understand that in the suicide world, outside validation seems to be prevalent, and instead of the inner. What do you say about that?
This topic is really hard for me. It's near and dear. My little cousin, who was 13, committed suicide.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear.
And I'm also a suicide survivor myself. So for me, one of those things is understanding that support looks and feels different for everybody. And it might be there, but you might not be able to understand that it's there.
Mm-hmm.
And safety is a lot of different things too. So I think cultivating that in confidence, because you can be talking to somebody and they might not hear your hurt or your pain. And as a Black woman, resilience is like a good thing and a bad thing, because you're so used to carrying it at all that you desensitize yourself to everything.
Absolutely.
So I think that is also part of the problem with suicide in the Black community. Like, you're supposed to just take it all, but
you're supposed to be the Black strong woman, the strong Black woman.
And being sensitive and being vulnerable and emotional are sometimes triggers or used against you as an attack. So having a safe space and making those connections or reaching out to get that help, even if it's just talking, but as soon as you feel safe enough to have the conversation, you can start to grow. But that point is not as black and white as everybody thinks it is.
Not at all.
I want everybody hearing, listening, watching, like, if you need it and you don't know how to ask for it, there are numbers, there are people in your community. I don't want to always say religion, because everybody's religion and their experience with religion might do more harm than good. But
That
just
is
know
correct.
that there are opportunities for you to seek out help. And I just pray for courage and discernment for anybody going through anything. And I know the pandemic made those instances and those prevalence and those risk factors go up, but that's why
I always work on. I know you said she had the last word, but I had to say one more thing. That's why for me, I'm always a transparent person, because you never know what somebody's going through. You never know. And if you're vocal about it, maybe sometimes, because I get that a lot. Like, when I say something like,
you have to be careful with that though, because that might overstimulate somebody. So you just have to be careful about oversharing and transparent. You also have to do a temperature check for them, and they have to do it for themselves. But that's a daily practice and a tool. You just can't assume that everybody has.
It's so, when we talk about the suicide, and I'm glad we got into we got into some deep stuff here. When we talk about suicide and we talk about domestic violence and we talk about the real issues, and that's what the Hard Talk with Jakim is all about. We talk about the real issues. We also have to bring in the outside triggers in so many of these things. Now, I do not drink alcohol. I will have a beer once every 5 years if I do. But I will tell you this, drugs and alcohol are meant to ruin your life if you do not control them. And I'm going to say this, and y'all know I've said this on Hard Talk with Jakim all the time. When you are troubled, you are controllable. So a lot of times your sellouts, the reason why they are sellouts is because they are troubled. Listen, we had two great queens on here tonight. And we was getting into it, y'all.
Yes.
Remember, you can see this show. If you did not see it live tonight, you can see it tomorrow on YouTube, or you can go back here on Facebook on the Hard Talk with Jakim show. All right, I would like to give my big thanks to Miss Wilmington, Aisha Monroe. And I would like to get,
You got it.
You got it.
I got it right. I know I got that right. I can read. Not like Kanye. I can read. And Jeanice, Sister Jeanice from Miss Delaware. Jeanice, do you want to give the last word to? And I'll give Aisha also the last word. Anything else you want to tell the people out there?
I just want to say, stay encouraged. Continue to learn yourself. Read for yourself. Don't settle for less, and just always just be grateful. Just be grateful for your life.
There you go. And Aisha?
I want everybody to know that you are your best thing.
There you go. All right, y'all. This has been the Hard Talk with Jakim show. Listen, I'm going to leave you with one of MLK's best speeches, and we had two great queens. I should have them back on before their reign is up. Well, for her, she's going to be for 2023. Sister Aisha going to be for 2023 too. So we'll have them back on there. We're going to talk about, we're going to get into some even heavier stuff because y'all need to have this. We need to have that hard talk. All right, y'all, this is Jakim Muhammad. Listen to the late, great MLK Jr. Peace.
All we say to America is be true to what you said on paper. If I lived in China or even Russia or any totalitarian country, maybe I could understand some of these illegal injunctions. Maybe I could understand the denial of certain basic First Amendment privileges because they haven't committed themselves to that over that. But somewhere I read of the freedom of assembly. Somewhere I read of the freedom of speech. Somewhere I read of the freedom of press. Somewhere I read that the greatness of America is the right to protest far right.
The speaker.